We've been exploring some light mech tactica recently, exploring this idea, building that checklist, light mechs for recon, skirmishing, refused flank, or in lower battle value games, working as a bodyguard mech. And I just want to framework for a second some Mech Warrior, Mech Command tactica here. What I like to try and do is have two mechs working together, even if it's a lance with four mechs, 2 and 2. And this idea of one of the mechs, usually a medium or a heavy that's going to brawl a little bit, will try to get close enough to its target where now we're locked in together. This idea of 3 or 4 hexes, we're blasting away, and in that being close, locked together, we can't really break off. I mean, you can backpedal from me, but I can generally move faster forward than you can move backwards. And in that firing back and forth, a bodyguard mech will now break off and try to attack rear or side armor. Commonly, if I'm playing a Warhammer, I'll take a Hunchback, or if I'm playing a Stalker, maybe I'll take a Victor, right? The Stalker will advance, hit you at range, lock in close. The Victor will try and get that blast with the autocannon 20. Light mechs, Jenner works fantastically. So a lot of different uses for a light mech, even possibly sniping and skirmishing. I sometimes play the Thorn light mech. This is a light mech with medium lasers and a single long-range missile 5-pack. Run and gun, fire off the missiles, see what your opponent does. If they break off a couple of tanks or a mech or two in battle value, then that battle value is not going against my main lance, and I'll just run around with the light mech. So within that framework, a lot of uses for a light mech. And of course, speed is what keeps those light mechs alive. Now, within that framework, today's Mech Command question, hands. Hands. I'm working on becoming the most feared Locust pilot on the Inner Sphere, but a Locust does not have any arms, any hands. Given the tactica of a light mech, is there a drawback or a significant drawback to playing a light mech that does not have hands? Some missions are grab and go. Sometimes you can use improvised weapons, a way to get a nice little modifier, right? Light mechs punching and kicking, they don't do much because they don't have the tonnage transfer, but if you pick up an improvised weapon, that can amplify that. But are there times where you're like, I really wish I had some hands? Given the speed, the mobility, the skirmish, the recon of a light mech, if you have to grab something, if you have to do something and you don't have those hands, would that cost you the mission? So within that framework of a question as a fellow mech commander, there have been a few missions where I've had to grab something or do something. I've been able to compromise with that using medium mechs. And in some ways, if it is a mission where I have to go in and physically grab something, my opponent knows that. So things are going to be a little bit more heavily guarded. A light mech is not just going to waltz in. But I do find sometimes with those light mechs, maybe you would like to have some hands. So within that tactica framework, a lot of mechs don't have hands. What about a light mech? Should it have hands? Does it need to have those hands and arms? Does that change the configuration? If you take a Stinger, Wasp, Stinger, and a Locust, is there a significant difference in the two?